Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Atlantic Motorsport Park for round 3 of the SRL Racing Series. Racing is about to kick off here in a couple of minutes. So I'd like to start off by thanking the sponsor for the first race today, which is Nova Drilling, sponsoring the Catch22 category. Nova Drilling provides geotechnical, environmental, and marine infrastructure drilling services throughout the Maritimes and Nunavut. The main type of drilling offered is diamond core, which provides a bedrock core sample for engineering consultants to design foundations and install environmental monitoring wells. Shout out to Nova Drilling for continuing sponsoring race classes here for the SRL Racing Series.
Don't want me to pull all the way up.
Big field here this afternoon for the Catch22. 20 riders registered for the class. A couple of them not out there. One of the riders, being number 29, unfortunately had some engine failure there, so unfortunately won't see Eric Spinney on the grid. Other rider, 69, Ryan Hum, unfortunately had to get off out there and due to medical reasons not making the field, so that cuts it down to 18 riders out there for the first race of the day. Run you through the order here. On pole position, this is based on championship points, and sitting on pole position, rider number 295 out of Bedeck, Nova Scotia, on board a Yamaha R3, sponsored by Nova Drilling and Bedeck Marine. That is the 295 of Angus McClarty. Making up the front row is the number 15. He's out of Harrowsboro on board a Honda CBR 600, sponsored by Nicole Burr and Asylum Racing. That is the 15 of Pat Patterson. Second row is the 27 out of Lower Sackville on board a Yamaha R6, sponsored by Liberty CC, Plus Racing and KYT. The 27 of Brianna Motion. Making up the second row, 141 out of Woodstock, New Brunswick, on board a Kawasaki Ninja 250, sponsored by Tony Martin Plumbing, Downriver Beverage Company, and Sarah Jane, the 141 of Tony Martin. Third row is the 36 of Lucas Bowl, and the 53 out of Lake Echo on board a Yamaha R3, sponsored by the Hungry Beagle. That is the 53 of Jim Marlowe. Making up the third row is the 7 out of Membricook, New Brunswick, on board a Honda CBR 600, sponsored by Mario. That is the 7 of Sasha Richard. Fourth row is the 73 of Robert McGuinness, and the 12 out of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, of Ian Forster. Fifth row is the 224 out of Wedgwood, Nova Scotia, sponsored by Precious Metal Racing, the 224 Kevin Burr. Making up the fifth row is the 3 out of St. Margaret's Bay, Nova Scotia. Riding Thinger Machinery, so I'm not sure which one he is on this afternoon. He is sponsored by himself. That is Randy Bennett. Sixth row sees the 62 of Phil Warnell, followed by the 28 of Scott McIntyre. Seventh row, the 49 of Max Holt, the 70 of Julia Bohemier, and the 90 of Angelo Gucciarati. Eighth row, 108 of Ayush Sabra, and the 153 of Ron Hilchi. Oh, we have a rider that's not able to get the bike going. Oh, I think that might be Sasha Richard, maybe. Big wheelie there as well, down the front straightaway, able to collect it there. Glad to see everything worked out there on the front straightaway. But out of turn 2, it is Angus McClarty, but Pat Patterson, using the horsepower of that 600, able to get around McClarty up into 3. So right now, Pat Patterson about 4 bike lengths ahead of Angus McClarty. Wait to see the bikes coming around, get a little closer there, see who's in the third position. Rider in fourth, I can tell, is Tony Martin on that red Kawasaki 400. Now down the back straightaway, the riders in second and third side by side. That is Lucas Bull coming up the outside of Angus McClarty, taking over the second place position there into turn 7. Anyone new track, Catch22, it's all about staying above the minute 22 mark. As soon as you get below the 122, you are DNF. So I'll keep an eye on the lap times here. Oh, Jim Marlowe going wide through 11, allowed Phil Warnell to get around. But as they complete one lap, run you through the order. It's Pat Patterson, Lucas Bull, Angus McClarty, Brianna Mosier up to fourth, followed by Tony Martin in fifth. Up the hill, it is Pat Patterson, Angus McClarty down into turn 2, able to get around Lucas Bull, moving himself up into that second place position. A few bikes back is Brianna Mosier, so she's right there in the hunt for a podium. Looks like Angus McClarty trying an inside move of Pat Patterson in 5. Just not close enough to pull off that move. Now down the back straightaway, we'll see if Brianna Mosier is able to use the horsepower. Here she goes around Lucas Bull. Can she get Angus McClarty too? Not close enough, but she's now into the third place position. Her corner speed was sacrificed there in turn 7. I was curious to see if Lucas Bull might have taken advantage there and had a good drive into turn 9, but he is still sitting there in 4th. Robert McGuinness has moved up into the 5th place position with Ian Forster right behind him as well as they come onto the front straightaway here. Looking at the lap times, Angus McClarty a 122.172. He is flirting with getting DNF'd. Now with clear track there, we'll see if he is going to continue to push his lap times lower. Only 1/10 of a second away from getting into the 121s. Now 6 riders battling it out here for those 3 podium positions through 4 up to the top of 5. Angus McClarty about a second ahead of Pat Patterson, followed by Brianna Mosier. Both of those 600s in second and third. So no horsepower differential there down the back straightaway, but you can see that's allowed them to pull away from that R3 of Lucas Bull. Now a few bike lengths. Robert McGuinness looking racy out there. I have a feeling he's got an inside move lined up into turn 9. He has. He's taken over that 4th place position from Lucas Bull. Now we'll see what happens here with Robert McGuinness. He broke out there in round 2. I don't know the official rules here, but from my understanding, it is break out twice and you're done in this class. Angus McClarty, I was wondering if he, with clear track, would get down to the 121s, and sure enough, he has. He has got down to the 121.4, so now the battle is between Pat Patterson, Brianna Mosier, Robert McGuinness, Ian Forster. The 4 of them battling. Ian Forster up the inside of Robert McGuinness into turn number 4. Ian Forster looking racy to get a podium this afternoon. Over the top of 5. 5 riders within a couple of seconds down the back straightaway. Now into turn number 7. Pat Patterson a bike length ahead of Brianna Mosier. Ian Forster, what a rocket through 7-8. He is, I thought he was going to get both riders into turn number 9, but now it is Ian Forster up into the 2nd place position, right behind Pat Patterson. Side by side, Brianna Mosier and Ian Forster, but is Ian Forster able to hold the inside line? across the line. Oh, Ian Forster, a 1:21.6. Ian Forster now broken out himself, so he is no longer a contender in this battle of the 5 bikes there. So it is Pat Patterson, Brianna Mosher, Robert McGuinness, and the rider there 5th on in that battle. 4th in the standings is Lucas Bull. Through turn 4, bike length between Pat Patterson and Brianna Mosher over the top of 5. That bike in the middle there, that white one, that is Ian Forster. He is DNF, getting below the 121. So a little bit of gap there back to Robert McGuinness. So those 2 bikes battling it out for the lead through turn 7. Ian Forster again trying to get around both bikes. I think he has. Ian Forster around both Brianna Mosher and Pat Patterson down into turn number 9 and immediately has gapped them by about 4 bike lengths. Ian Forster is a force out there this morning. Oh, Pat Patterson, Brianna Mosher, Robert McGuinness, Lucas Bull, all top 4 riders breaking out. Holy moly, the racing is getting hot this morning, this afternoon here at A&P. That's got Phil Warnell. We'll have to track and find out where Phil Warnell is. I think that's Phil Warnell going between going into turn 3 there now. So right now, Phil Warnell has about 4 seconds over Tony Martin. Jim Marlowe sitting in 3rd. So that great battle that's happening down the back straightaway is all for bragging rights at the moment as Angus McClarty back through around Ian Forster. This is bragging rights out here this afternoon. I'll keep watching this battle, even though it's not for a podium position. This still is a healthy battle out there that I enjoy to watch, and I'm sure all the spectators do as well, as they're now coming onto the front straightaway. Ian Forster and Angus McClarty, followed by Pat Patterson. There goes Phil Warnell, he's the current leader. His fastest time was a 1:22.9, so he still has a second gap to that 1:22. Second place, Tony Martin, followed by Jim Marlowe. So there's a battle right there I love to watch there between Jim Marlowe and Angelo Gucciarati. Definitely not saying that name right. That's a battle for a podium position, 3rd and 4th. I'll keep an eye on that one. That's a battle for a podium. It's coming now out of turn 2. Angelo ahead of Jim Marlowe. He's a few bike lengths ahead of him now. Looking at the how quickly he was able to gap Jim there between 3 and 4. Oh, I had to look over here. I heard everyone in the tower gasping. There's 3 riders battling it out here. Angus McClarty, Ian Forster battling onto the front straightaway. Here comes Ian Forster. Almost under the grass. Here comes Brianna Mosher. Holy moly, what a great race. All right, here we go. There's Phil Warnell across the line. He's the winner. Here's Tony Martin now coming onto the front straightaway. He'll finish the race in 2nd. Right now, here comes this battle for 3rd. Jim Marlowe, he may try an inside move here into 11. Elected to tuck up behind Angelo. Here comes Sasha Merchard, stealing away 4th place position. Jim Marlowe across the line, putting in her fastest lap of the race. None of those riders will know that they are that high up in the standings. At the top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders breaking out of the Catch22 this afternoon. Great racing to start off the racing here for all fans that have made it out to Atlantic Motorsport. I have to now catch my breath. This race always brings tons of excitement for the fans. People here supporting the racers, all the pit crew standing there on pit wall. I'm sure someone's going to let Phil Warnell know that fans letting all those riders know they have broken out, like 6 of them. Here comes the winner, Phil Warnell taking the win. Phil Warnell